Hello. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, everybody. It's been a minute since we went live, and we just wanted to give a quick update about what we've been up to and really awesome program we have coming up.
Yeah, and if you are new to our page, the Benjamin Goldberg Foundation page, I am Dr. Sheetal Ajmani, the medical advisor of the foundation. And
I'm Wendy Goldberg, president and founder of BGF.
Yeah. So we are hopping on today because we are really excited about a new offering that we have starting in this month, in just a couple weeks, actually.
Yes, it'll be a 4-week program for caregivers. It'll run starting June 18th through July 9th. They will be on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. They are free and open to anyone who wants to join. So when we've been wanting to do some programming for a long time around caregivers, and a lot of the conversations that we have in the community really lead back to the voice of a caregiver. So, people have asked us to do this, and so we've done it. And we reached out to, actually, it was 3 of my guests on the podcast who, really enjoyed the conversation and wanted to take it a little bit further. So, Sheetal, you want to give them a little taste of what
absolutely. So first of all, also while you're joining us, whether you're joining us live or tuning in a little bit later, please say hello. Let us know in the chat. Say hi. Let us know that you are here. We love to hear from you. So as Wendy mentioned, we've noticed we have, had lots of requests to provide some sort of offering specifically geared towards caregivers. And also, I'd say probably over the past year or two, we've also just really identified this gap in services and support for caregivers, those who are caring for loved ones undergoing any sort of medical or healing journey. And so we've had it on our minds and our hearts for quite a while to put something together provides to meet the needs of caregivers within our community. And that's where this webinar series then sort of organically developed. And through specifically, you have had all 3 of these speakers on your podcast. So I'm going to just kind of name off the speakers and their topics. And then,
Sure.
I'd love to hear more insights from you as you have had conversations with them all on your show. So the first week, we're going to start off with Empath survival skills for caregivers, and that's going to be facilitated by Cindy Griffith. Then we're going to talk about the patient-caregiver relationship the second week, and that is going to be facilitated by a local physician, Dr. Kapoor. And then we're going to have an actual experiential grief healing session facilitated by Monica Rao, who not only has she been on your podcast, but she also 2 years ago facilitated an arts and meditation workshop that we hosted. And then the final session is going to be an Ask Us Anything caregiver conversation, open Q&A session and reflections with both of us. So we're so excited about this. Would you like to speak about share a little bit more about our speakers?
Yeah, and I love it that we're reaching back out to people who are so passionate, about caregivers. So Cindy Griffith, I interviewed in season 12. She's very passionate about and has taught classes and things all around empathy. But it's so important, that conversation is so, it really comes to light when you're in a caregiving relationship. So she is going to bring a wealth of knowledge and examples and how to help us cope. All of us will be in a strong caregiving relationship at some point in our lives. So yeah, I'm excited to dive a little deeper into that with her. And then for the second episode with Dr. Kapoor, him and I talked about caregiving as he sees it in his clinic. He is an eye doctor, so he sees aging patients that are losing their vision, and their middle-aged children are coming into the fold, into some of those conversations. And he's so passionate about wanting to, really heal that relationship as he sees it, and such an opportunity to, do that through his clinic. So yeah, I'm excited too. And he's very excited too. So again, he was on an episode called Amazon Brain, which he talks about also how we use our Amazon brain to shop, and we research the heck out of toilet paper and all these other things that we buy. But when it comes to our healthcare, it's more passive, it seems. So, he'll die. I'm sure he'll want to talk about that too. We love Kapil and Monica. So yeah, I've known Monica. She was one of my healers. Gosh, I've known her for almost a decade now, and she is phenomenal. She's a speaker. She does group healing sessions. And so she wanted to offer that to us as well. So she will come on and talk about her specific type of healing that she does. And all of us, oh, good. We've got some. Yeah. So please, if you're on, hi, Bonnie. It's so good to see you here. Hi, Jennifer. Loretto, of course. But yeah, if you have a question about any of these episodes or speakers, please, or anything really, pop it in the comments and we will respond. And then, I'm excited about the fourth one, Ask Us Anything, because, Sheetal is a little modest here, but she has a podcast as well. So will you tell us a little bit about your podcast? Hers is about self-care. But when I think about self-care and what that means as a caregiver, I want to say that might be 50% of the role or more, because you really can't be a good caregiver if you are not whole and taking care of yourself. And that's so hard for all of us. So, to have Sheetal's insight with, how many guests have you interviewed over the years?
Oh, goodness. I am just about to release my 92nd episode. So my 91st episode came out this week. I was just editing my 92nd episode earlier today, actually, and getting that ready to launch next week. So really exciting. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, and thank you for inviting me to share a bit about that. So the podcast is called Essential Self-Care, and it's all about exposing individuals to a variety of forms of caring for yourself, beyond what you might think of, beyond things like bubble baths and massages, which all are valid forms of self-care. But it's also seeing that there's so many different ways and aspects of self-care that we need to address, and during different seasons of our life. And particularly when we are in that caregiving role, it can become very all-encompassing, and we can, again, and depending on how long that caregiving role is, it can also become almost, you can start to identify with it. It can become part of your identity. And so finding those ways where, there's so much I could talk about it, but this is just one aspect of it, finding those ways that you can care for yourself, your whole self, along that process, along that journey is so important. It's such a vital aspect as well. And so, we can definitely dive into aspects of that during that Ask Us Anything, that final session. Also, we'll address any questions that come up for you as you're tuning into the whole webinar series. We'll, address those then as well. And that being said, the series starts on June 18th. If you have any questions from now or leading up to that, or even while the sessions are going on, please let us know. You can email us. You can email us at admin@benjamingoldbergfoundation.org. Any questions that you want us to address, either during that Q&A session or that you want any of our speakers to address during their sessions throughout the series. We have created this to be of support and value and use to you. So let us know what's on your mind, what questions you are grappling with in your caregiving role, and we will do our best to address that through the series. And another thing I wanted to mention, Wendy, is that the series is a webinar series. So it's virtual. You can access it from anywhere. And so
we know this will be right after school's out, and it will trail over the 4th of July holiday, but they are hour-long on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. again. So the registration is super easy. The link should be up on our front page of our website today. If not, check back. But we will be starting to showcase the graphics and the links over social media very soon.
And so it's completely free to register. Of course, we are a nonprofit, so any donations will continue to support this type of work, but it is completely free to register. And hopefully we chose a time that also is feasible, that even for our friends who are in different time zones can still join us. If you're out west, joining us, hopefully, it's late afternoon for you guys. So, but really joining us from anywhere we we are really excited to provide this for you. I'm excited too to
I am, and
check out all of our speakers. Yeah,
I know, and this will be our first webinar series. We've done several webinars over the years for education and conferences, but this will be our first, I think, real patient-driven, caregiver-driven series, and hopefully the first of many.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're a caregiver in any way, shape, or form, caring for yourself, caring for a loved one, a healthcare provider, if you relate in any way, or if you work with caregivers, this is just going to be such valuable information.
Yeah, we can't wait to see you guys in the next few weeks. So stay tuned and catch those links as they start to roll out over social media.
Yeah, thanks.
And Sheetal, will you be giving us, in our Q&A session, any, feedback on the prior three?
Yeah, so we'll kind of reflect on sort of key insights from the prior three. It'll be kind of a recap of the whole series, as well as addressing questions, as well as sharing our personal reflections throughout the way, along the journey. It'll be a really, really interesting and insightful time.
Yeah, and while we're on, do you want to give a few updates on some things we've had going on? I think it's been a few months since we've done a live.
Let's see. Oh my goodness. We have been so hard at work. So many things in the background. So we are working on a collaborative pilot project here locally. We're still in the phases of, we have the framework of the pilot project, going through really just some of the logistical issues, the behind the scenes logistical issues of processes, not issues, but processes to move it forward. But it's a pilot project, which would be the first ever pilot program, research-driven program to look at healing arts, social prescriptions for the oncology patient population here in Hampton Roads. So really moving this initiative forward of making healing arts accessible to, to the patient populations, to individuals on healing journeys here within our region, and to collect the data on that, to demonstrate the data, not only of clinical outcomes, but also of how it benefits, our patients, how it benefits the healthcare providers, how it can benefit the healthcare systems as well, to really influence and hopefully and potentially impact this on a really systemic, large-scale level. We've done so much work that has had tremendous impact, and we're really, through projects like this, really expanding that impact, which is really, really exciting.
I know, and Sheetal's so passionate. She's such an amazing speaker, and so we have also, do you want to talk a little bit about our consultation packages that we are now offering, anything healing arts related? She does a beautiful, easy to understand lecture on what are the healing arts and everything around that, and also some of our social prescribing packages as well. Yeah,
absolutely. So we just launched some consultation and keynote services, and there's a few different options there. And what we were seeing, you may or may not have recalled, and if you missed it, we launched a national toolkit at the end of April. It was a national toolkit on social prescribing roundtable convening. So we held a very successful, very impactful social prescribing roundtable convening here in Hampton Roads last September of 2024. And we subsequently, we're really only one of a handful of organizations around the country who have held convenings like this. And so we created a toolkit that other regions, other organizations and individuals in other regions can replicate this sort of convening within their own region. And we've actually had a couple people reach out to us already who had downloaded the toolkit and said, we are so excited to move forward with planning a convening in our region, and have expressed appreciation for having this toolkit and this resource where we're really sharing like templates, best practices, lessons learned, things like that. And so that toolkit is available for free to download from our website. In addition to that, we realized that some people may want even additional support than that. And so that's where these consultative services come into play, and keynote services. So you can choose to meet with me as the medical advisor to get some input on scientific perspectives of what you would want that convening to hold, or outcomes that you would want that convening to hold. You could also seek me out to speak at your convening, to speak speak on social prescribing, to speak on the role of healing arts in healthcare. Or you can also engage in our entire team to get even additional support on program logistics and kind of, just all of the logistics that go into play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're excited. And this idea of the toolkit, is popping up in some other conversations we're having lately. Like, possibly we could do a toolkit on the healing arts and, really start to share the healing arts with, other groups that, maybe, but it seems like we all need it. We were asked recently, someone said, well, how do we share about the healing arts? And what did you say? We just are the healing arts?
Yeah. Someone was asking, like, how do you engage others in the community who are interested in this work? And this was on a national call with national leaders who are advancing social prescribing initiatives across the country. And I said, well, at the Benjamin Goldberg Foundation, we're a small but mighty team. We're 4 women on our team, and each one of us is living this day in and day out. We all engage in the healing arts in some way, shape, or form. And so it's easy for us to talk about it because, yes, and as the medical advisor, I will say that the evidence is there, and I'm continually, staying on top of the latest research and the evidence. And every single one of us on our team has this lived, felt experience of it as well.
Yeah, it's really fun to have. I feel like I've done so much work over the years, but this has been kind of like the crown jewel, to have a team that is so passionate about what we're doing, and we hope it shows. And we appreciate every one of you in our community because we could not do this without you and your support. So thank you for following along and like and share our posts. Also, Sheetal's podcast and my podcast, I am on Sundays with Wendy is now on YouTube. So those are very fun episodes to watch. They're fun to do, they're fun to edit, and they're fun to watch too. So, nothing's off limits when we talk about healing. So if you or someone wants to be a guest on the Sundays with Wendy podcast, please reach out. I am trying to schedule one a week.
And definitely, if you haven't tuned in, once again, all of our speakers for the Caregiver series have been on Sundays with Wendy podcast. So if you haven't checked it out yet, Cindy Griffith, Dr. Kapil, Kapoor, Monica Rao. I have been on the podcast as well.
A couple times, yeah.
So definitely check out those episodes. Definitely visit the site to register for the webinar series. As I mentioned, it's a completely free resource to you, to our community, and we just can't wait to see you virtually there.
See you guys.